get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your issue splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that necklace to the trends. CLE be the best.
When we slide right with the top down to try. My bad. That's the rest of the song. But welcome to another episode of Corner to Copa. I'm here with my co-host, Coach. How you feeling?
Let's go, boys. Let's go, Detroit Tiger fans. Holy crap. Oh. And we are one game away from the American League Championship Series.
Hey man, it's got a little ring to it, man. I like the sound of that.
I got no words. It's just raw emotion right now.
Yeah, so the Tigers handle business today, shut out the Cleveland Guardians at home in front of a sold-out crowd, 40,000 plus. What was it, 45,000 plus or 40,000 plus? Either one applies, but
it's packed. It was packed.
Yeah, to the brim, like they said on the radio. They were shoehorning them in there. Just anybody that was around, they were getting them in there. But yeah, it was an orange out. It was exciting. The biggest crowd in Comerica Park history, dating even back to the 2006, the last time we went to the playoffs, and even back to 2006. But hold on, let's see what we got in here. MSU Detroit fan in the building. Roar 24, absolutely. But yeah, the Tigers handle business. They shut out the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians have not had a single run in the last 19 innings, dating back to game one? We didn't shut them out in game two, did we?
Oh man, you'd go longer than 19. Yeah, it was 3-0. Kerry Carpenter, 3-run bomb, 3-0 was the final. They haven't scored in over 20 innings, actually. I think since 5 or 6 of game one when we lost 7-0. So they scored 5 in the first inning, and then they scored 2 more right around the 4th or 5th, and then
later. Yeah,
they literally have not scored in almost 2.5 games since. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if there was any question of who had the momentum at this point, obviously we talked about the fact that we kind of take over home field advantage after taking one in Cleveland, and Tigers are definitely trying to shut the door and not even let them get an opportunity to get back to Cleveland. MSU Detroit fan says game 2 and 3 were both 3-0 finals. Absolutely. Yep. And I like the ring of that. And hey, you know who else? Carpenter, didn't he wear number 30? 3-0?
He does. He currently does.
Magli Ordonez. What number did he wear?
He wore number 30, but so did Nick Castellanos and Eugenio Suarez briefly for years.
Castellanos wore 30?
He did before he turned to 9. Yeah.
So I got to take this serious while at home tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow, yeah, let's get it done. Let's not even play around with it. Let's Tigers don't play with their food, right? They handle it. They devour, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've and I had to double check too, and I didn't hear that because I didn't have the radio on. No disrespect to Dan Dickerson during the game, but yeah, 44,885 attended Game 3 today, the largest postseason crowd in the ballpark's history, which stems 24 years or 23 years. Either opened up in 2000 or 2001. So that is absolutely incredible because we'll be totally honest. Foster and I had been to a few games over the course of the summer and early fall-ish, and there hadn't been more than maybe 50, 60% capacity, even in the Tampa, Colorado series. There weren't, again, during the week, but weren't even nearly as many fans. So
it was later in the year. I mean, we were well within the race at this point.
Yeah, but we were within a game or so. We were right in the thick of it. But it didn't take till the following week for all of a sudden the stadium to completely fill out, 85, 90% plus. starting with that Baltimore series that my family and I went to, which was pretty full and another, great series. But I mean, look, not going to nitpick attendance because, we've been thirsting, yearning, and just needing this ball club to provide some type of fight. And boy, have they more than delivered a type of fight. They have defied all odds. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are no numbers, there are no stats that can tell you to say that this type of stretch that they've had leading into the postseason is possible. It is mathematically, but I can tell you, all sports, like when the Wings lost to the Kings when they were an 8th seed and they won the Stanley Cup, this is beyond that. This is unfathomable, and we're just along for the ride. And I don't know about you, but this has to be America's team right now. This has to be.
Yeah. I mean, no disputing that. I mean, if you got to be sleeping on the rock if you haven't caught wind of what we've been what we've had going on so far. MSU Detroit fans, I know Scuba will start game 5, but I would rather take the series at home. Also give Scuba a chance to start faster in the ALCS. So game 5 would be the last game, right? He's talking about.
Yeah, game 4 is tomorrow, later evening game, because there's 4 games tonight today tonight for MLB playoffs. We would be game 4 tomorrow, and then day off Friday for travel to go back to Cleveland. And game 6 would be, or game 5, sorry, if it came down to it, and hopefully it doesn't, because it's almost the same time as my dad's alma mater's kickoff for homecoming and their celebration on Saturday. So I am really hoping that we close it out tomorrow. But it's great to be up 2-1 and still have your ace, the league's ace. Let's be clear, the league's ace in the back pocket.
We're in. I don't think we could be in a much better situation right now.
That'd be 3-0 to sweep.
Yeah. Outside of that, but yeah, Cleveland. I really feel like Cleveland is. I mean, just the fact that it's been that long since they scored a run, and the fact that they're going to have to do it with a probably crazier crowd. Like, does it get wilder than that? Like,
and they used some of their not all their better arms today, but they used some good arms today. So for them, an elimination game, as we all well know as baseball fans, it's all hands on deck. Unless your arm as a pitcher, unless your arm is falling out of its socket, you're gonna be available tomorrow if you're a top end guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of arms, we got one inning out of Carter Montero, which I kind of forgot about because I was like, oh, you know what? We predicted correct on the Brad Herter situation, but I did forget that Herter went the first inning. I mean, Montero went the first inning.
Yeah.
It was kind of a bumpy ride for Herter a little bit. He went 3 1/3, 5 hits, gave up a walk, but Bo Brisky, big game Bo. I mean, if that's not his nickname, I mean, he just comes in and gets the job done. He went 2 innings, 3 strikeouts, and regular form for him, but complete effort. Zero runs overall. Herter is the only pitcher that gave up a hit. No, Gunther gave up 1. But outside of that, the Indians. I mean, I don't think I'll ever shake out of that.
I want them to be the Indians again. I think everyone wants them in the baseball realm. Needs them to be the Indians again. And to our offline chat, I'm pretty sure they submitted back to MLB with support of the tribe to be like, yo, we need to be the Indians again. We need the Chiefs back. And frankly, with that movie back in the 90s, that made them iconic. Whether they won, lost, whatever, didn't matter because it was such a great movie. But we digress back to the winning ball club.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, they've been pretty good since they've been the Guardians. So, like, I don't know, but certainly not faring well, as of late in this series. MSU Detroit fan, we are already going to have the Wings opening night interfere with game 4 tomorrow. So having game 5 interfere with the Iowa, Michigan State game shouldn't be that much of a problem. Preaching to the choir with the State fans in the building, but
well, they did push back the Wings game an hour for tomorrow.
Did they?
Okay. Did. That already happened. They're not going to start until like 8:05, 8:10, just to help try and. But that's more local. For those of you that are Southeast Detroit and Michigan, that's just to help offset some of the traffic flow in and out between both venues, because they both are within like 2.5 miles from each other, right across.
I don't even think
they're close.
Yeah, they're it's pretty. Close. It's just literally a highway separating them. But or no, there's not even a highway separating.
There is. Yeah. Right across from the Tigers garage is was it 375 that cuts through from 75? That's the immediate local highway in Detroit. But yeah, that's what we do. Lions have the last few years with the Tigers, so yeah.
He said across the interstate. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Okay, let's get to the first break. Hold on a second. So let's get to the offensive side of things. We kind of dwelled on the pitching, which, as we always have to. But as far as contributions, we got I think there was some statistics said about Parker Meadows. What was it that we were talking about?
Yeah, let me get back into that. So Parker now has hit safely in the last 5, I think, consecutive games. Let me find that image.
Or hit safely in every. I think he's hit safely in every playoff game. Is that what it was?
It's pretty close. But either way, whether it's hit safely or reach safely in all of his consecutive playoff appearances since Al Kaline in '68. So that's very good company to be in. Not just
you're saying the streak is that long, is what you're saying? That's crazy.
Yeah. It's not happened since Al Kaline in the World Series or playoff run of '68, which was 2 titles ago. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, these guys continue to set or break records by either the 68 or 84 World Series team, almost on a series to series basis, which, I'm going to say this real quick here, and it's going to be a little broad. This run right now is for those that did see the 68 World Series team and probably the 84, and those like you and me, Foster, who are in our 30s, who we were not around for the 84 team, and we've seen a few World Series teams from this club. This is for almost 3 generations of Tigers fans. And granted, we saw what happened with Boston and Chicago in the last 20 years. This is for all of those fans right now. This run that you cannot define, you cannot put numbers to. This is for all of those fans that collectively are in for this team right now.
Absolutely. And we got some pretty heroic efforts from Jake Rogers, I feel like he's been setting the table. He was on base. He was on base for the Kerry Carpenter home run. He started that rally. And then he had another big hit today, which I think ultimately Veerling hit him in on a sac fly, right? That was the first run of the game.
Yep. After he advanced to second on a ground out, right? And
right.
Then
I think did Meadows get a hit that time or no? I think Meadows got a hit because Green ended up getting. I think Green ended up getting him. Huh? Yeah, he ended up. I think he scored on the Green hit, if I'm not mistaken.
He only had 1 hit. Parker only had 1, so yeah.
Yeah. So and then we kind of spoke it up. We both agreed that hey, it was time for Green to wake out of his slumber a little bit, and we knew that was coming. And early in the game, that's exactly what he did. And then it wasn't until later on that we got a few more insurance runs when Colt Keith got a double, right? A double down the line, or some.
Yep, nice little pull shot down the line. Absolutely.
And then Torkelson got him in on a single. So, or was that a
double?
That was a double.
Doubled that. His first base hit, extra base hit all together of the postseason. Yeah.
Yep. And in typical AJ Hinch form, he utilized nearly his entire bench. Malloy got a pinch hit for Kerry Carpenter. Controversially, he got he pinch hit for Kerry Carpenter and did get on with a walk. And then I missed the part where Jace Young ended up pinch hitting for who? He ended up pinch hitting for Malloy as well.
For Malloy. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Kerry sticking there for one more at bat. And look, if he's going to face one lefty, so be it. You know what? Okay. This guy has been, we said the last post game, game 2, we've said it fairly regularly over the last 2 months since he came back. This guy is your most clutch and most power hitter on the team. And he needs the at-bats. And I get it. Okay. He's going to face, if you can stomach him facing one lefty, because guess what? Everyone else around the lineup around him is batting right. If they do go to that later on, then go to Malloy. But don't burn him the first time he gets a lefty-lefty matchup. I mean, that's just, I think it's too premature, but you know what? I'm not the manager, so
I mean, how about sticking to your guns? Is that something that you would suggest?
But he's the best gun they got.
I'm saying when I say sticking to your guns, sticking to what has worked for you. This is a philosophy that AJ Hinch has utilized the entire season, and it hasn't. I won't say it hasn't burned him yet, but at the same,
I wouldn't say the entire season. I'd say the last 2.5 months of the regular season since the trade deadline.
Well, Kerry's only been back for 2 months, but I don't know.
Still fits.
I think the only reason why it's valid is the simple fact that Malloy has been hitting well. We're not talking about a guy that's been struggling and is like, oh, we're just gonna give him a righty, give him a lefty for the sake of giving him a lefty. He was bad. He went into it. He's still batting 4 for 6 because he walked, so it wasn't an actual at bat.
Yeah, I understand that. At the same time, if I'm looking for a base hit that could be an extra base hit, I'm choosing Kerry Carpenter 10 times out of 10 over Malloy and 20 times on Sunday.
Against against a lefty though. I
that's one at bat though. That's one at bat. Like I said, if he comes around again and they go back to another lefty,
which they use
in that spot, then go to Malloy because now you've given him. Because most bullpens only have 2 lefties, usually on average. So if you can eat one with Kerry, and then he comes up again, and they go righty, for a little bit, and then they go back to a lefty for him again coming up, then go to Malloy. That's fine. You got to have the edge on your side because the next time Malloy comes up, guess what? He's not facing a lefty. He's facing a righty, which he may or not be just as bad against righties as Carpet's against lefties. But at the same time, you want that advantage of the matchup later in the game as possible because it becomes growingly more high leverage in that situation. Now by the
time, so did we have 3 runs by the time Malloy came back around?
Carp had 1 at bat. That was it. The whole game. He had 1.
I'm saying what was the score? Because by that point,
1-0.
It was 1 by the time Young came up.
No. It was Young 1 by the time Carp got pinch hit for Malloy.
No. I get that. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
what you're
I'm
saying.
not talking about
when the decision was made. It was 1-0.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Young at that point. I mean, it's like that was wild. I have no comment for that, honestly. When Young came in, I was just like,
Yeah. So wait. So what was the final? Dylan Young's in the building. Speaking of Young, Cleveland been awful silent since first inning with 19. Yeah. See, it was 19. Yeah, that's what the commentator said. But Oh, Dylan, did you go to the game? I think Dylan went to the game today. I think that's what he said. But
either 3 or 4. I think he said he was going. It may have been 4.
What was the final defensive alignment? Because I feel like you had something to say about how the defense was going to be aligned. Did Young didn't have to field, did he?
No, they were, because Carp started at DH, so Malloy pinched hit at DH, and then Young pinched hit at DH. But know, there goes your drop in power, big time.
Yeah. But by that point, but by the time Young got in there, we were up 4-0, right, or 3-0, right?
3. Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. I'm looking at the play-by-play right now. It was the bottom of the 7th. Young popped out. He pinch hit for in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Oh, Dylan's going tomorrow. Okay, good show. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was game 4.
He said he tried to get off. I think he was. I think he might have. I don't know. All right, let's see here. Let me see. Malloy can hit it back. He's just not as consistent as Carpenter, of course. However, since Malloy got called up when Torque was sent down, Malloy has put up better stats than Torque, so he can definitely be a big bat. Yeah, we're going to do something about first base. First base. We got to address first base. That's all I can really say. If we're being serious about, I mean, granted, we gonna ride out the rest of the year. I don't really want to get too much into if we're serious about taking it to the next level, because we are taking it to the next level already. But yeah, if we're talking about improving the team, I mean, what's the guy from? Well, we're not gonna talk about the potential free agents right now. That's not important. Coach, what you talking about? Cleveland has hasn't had a run since 6 innings. Yeah. Oh, so that's 22 scoreless. Yeah. Why did
they scored 5 in game 1 in the first inning. They scored 5 in the first inning of game 1 and 2 more in the 6th inning. But since 7, 8, 9, and last 2 games, that's 3 plus 18, 21 innings. So yeah, 21 innings they've not scored a run. Yes, they've been on that streak. But
because the commentator definitely said 19 confidently. I don't know why.
You can be short about it and be like, oh, well, they haven't allowed a run in 2 full games. Yeah, that's categorically correct. But you want to talk about runs scored?
Okay, that's why they said that. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Well, they said 19. That's 18 innings.
Yeah.
But it was 18 prior to the 9th. They mentioned it in the 8th inning. That's why it was that. But
yeah,
since Torque and Carey came back, we started doing the Carpenter Malloy split DH. Yeah. MSU Detroit fan says, here's a bigger picture. What are we going to do at third? Keep Vierling or give Jace his time?
I think you have to keep him at third, because the flexibility at DH with Carey and Malloy is honestly instrumental right now. The amount of times those two have been in the DH this series, they have produced more than, I want to say, any other spot in the lineup in terms of technically position-wise. Parker's had some big hits. Jake's had some consistent, timely hits, but that DH spot between those 2 players with Carp and Malloy, Hunter Malloy, they've been driving it. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Foster's been a big proponent of that.
Yeah, and then Young is not going to play against lefties anyways. So,
and the fact that he's a below average fielder right now, you can't afford to have him with a below average bat out there at the same time. We already have one, and he delivered a double for the first time this postseason. So let's just keep it at one inefficient overall player at the time being.
Right. And June asks, who was pitching game 4? I don't even think AJ Hinch knows, right? I mean, maybe he has an idea of who's pitching game 4, but it's definitely going to be another platoon effort. I mean, it's definitely going to be another opener. And when we think about who it could be, Holton closed today, so he probably won't open, right? Or,
I mean, they had a day off yesterday. Why the hell wouldn't he be able tomorrow? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to say that he would start tomorrow. that was their bugaboo against Houston. Remember, he helped close and then opened game 1 against Cleveland, and it was, I don't want to say it was too close together, but he's well documented now. You do not open him tomorrow. I think he is absolutely not a candidate to be open. Dylan up there saying Olsen to open tomorrow.
I like that. Olsen pitched in game 1 and didn't give up he gave up the home run.
But I mean, of course, that was in his 4th inning of work.
No. That he gave up a home run. What's it called? Couldn't get out of that first inning. Who was it? Holton that opened that game?
Holton did, but then Olsen pitched the next 4 innings.
Yeah, but to get Holton didn't give up 5 runs. Olsen gave up a home run before they got out of that inning.
Holton was responsible for those 5. Well, there were runners on when Olsen came
runners on, but he still gave up a home run.
The box score on Olsen on that game 1, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 Ks. The only run being a home run, and he threw 49 strikes out of 73 pitches, which is about an average. But I mean, he held him down until Ty Madden came in, and Ty Madden got lit.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think he expected to come in with runners on. I mean, that's not his. He's a starting pitcher, so that's not even his role. So I mean, I do. I mean, you got to credit him with the home run, but yes, not so much the acquired run. So no, he pitched great considering.
He did.
Yeah, because he held him down. Troy in the building. What a game! Absolutely. He says not open. There will be an opener then Olsen. Okay, yeah. Which it could be Casey Mize. I mean, Montero.
Mize isn't on the roster. Remember, he got dropped from Montero.
Oh, okay. So we won't. There's no chance that we see him.
The only way you would do that would be Gunther. Gunther's the only left, right? If I'm not mistaken, Gunther's a lefty. He could open, and then you go Olsen. Or what I know, a lot of other people were possibly, I shouldn't say possibly. They were kind of more gravitating towards just because it happened in Houston. Would that be Job then comes in for bulk? But I mean, here's the thing: you could do that. You've got a game to play with, and ideally, I would rather not go back to Cleveland. The only thing I would like going back to Cleveland are the Guardians and the Guardians only. We close it out tomorrow. We don't have to go back to Progressive Field, but it is possible you could go Gunther, maybe Job for an inning or 2, and then you go with a bulk guy like maybe Olsen potentially. But that's a lot of arms, different arms that they saw in game 1. No, none of them actually. Only Olsen would have been the only arm you'd see. Now, there were questions about today. Should Montero have gone a second inning because Herter got into some trouble? But he was also able to navigate through that trouble over his, let's see here. How many innings did he pitch? Sorry. I'm on the play-by-play. I think he went, 3? He definitely went 3 innings. Yeah, he went 3 1/3, 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 K, 56 pitches. That's a lot of pitches to throw. I would not expect him to be available tomorrow. So then you just have Gunther as your primary lefty guy. He did pitch 1/3 of an inning, 11 pitches, but he'll be available tomorrow. I would expect him to be available tomorrow. So any combination. That's the crazy part of this pitching chaos. Any of those combination of 4 names that we've mentioned, they're on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get to a break. That time went by real fast. Jeez.
It did.
Before we get back into it, for any new viewers, I mean, most everybody in here is familiar faces, but please subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers, Corner to Copa for all audio aggregators, and share it around. Tell a friend to tell a friend if they're a Tigers fan. Y'all been watching our content all year. You know how we do. We are consistent and available. And we tell it how it is. Me and Coach, you already know. Me and Coach don't always agree.
Hell no. Hell no.
He would never claim that. He was like, "Nah, I don't always agree with Fuzzy," but no.
That's the beauty of it.
but that's why it's called Bleachers to Speakers, because we don't sugarcoat it. We tell it straight from us in the bleachers, square into the speakers. There's no in between there, So, but yeah, let's see what we got going on here. MSU Detroit fan, maybe have Hannafy start, then throw Olsen after the first. I think I already read that. My bad, y'all. Close it out, game 4. Absolutely. It's gonna be rocking in Comerica tomorrow. They're not even gonna know what way is. Cleveland's not even gonna know what way is up tomorrow. It's gonna be rocking down there. Some of these people are probably gonna go to the Wings game too. Like it's gonna be wild. MSU Detroit fan actually. Yeah, downtown. MSU Detroit fan actually have Joe pitch the first, and have Olsen, then Hannafy, then Gunther, then Foley. Ooh, you ready to get back into
only thing with that's 3 right-handers. The pitching chaos requires change of arms, and at least from 1 to 3 requires a change of arms. That's why I think Gunther is for sure pitching tomorrow, no matter what. Because Herter pitched a lot today. Gunther's for sure pitching tomorrow in some aspect, shape, or form. They're not going to throw 3, 4, 5 righties in a row out of that bullpen.
And then Gunther, he didn't. I don't know how much he pitched. Oh, the third of an inning today.
Third of an inning, 11 pitches. He's fresh. He's good. Plus, it's an off day after tomorrow, so heaven forbid we do need to go to a game 5. The only pitchers that shouldn't be available are Herter today. Honestly.
Yeah. What does contentious mean again?
Say it again.
What does contentious mean?
He says you're full of it.
Oh,
big headed.
Oh,
he's messing with you. Sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like June.
It's the June. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. June.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Come on,
What's
man.
up, buddy? What's up, June? Welcome in. Thank you. Appreciate
Appreciate
everything you've helped us with, man, for sure.
Yeah, Brisky threw 2 innings, so he will be available. I mean, maybe. You think so?
Why? I mean, I wouldn't say he'd be a primary candidate to pitch immediately tomorrow in the first 5 or 6 innings. I would say if push came to shove, let's say we had like a 2-run lead in the 9th inning, it came down to 1, and we needed 1 out to get to close it. I certainly think he'd be available. I would be blown away if he were to go to Hinch in a private conversation, and be like, look, I'm ready to go tomorrow if you need me. And Hinch goes, no, you've pitched like the last 5 straight playoff games. And he's like, yeah, but we've also had 3 days off. You go, and if I'm him, I'm looking at him like, look, mofo, I'm in for 1 at bat, 2 at bats. I'm in. You better believe I'm available. So make it happen. Vest should be available too. Yeah. I mean, I think honestly and we talked about it in the series preview. I think that's a big reason of the layout of our series specifically should have benefited us in the long run had we won enough games to keep going, because we've had game 1, daybreak, game 2, travel day. We've had a lot of reset. And right now, that's what's a big thing. Getting here to go to game 4 on back-to-back days of playing, and we've got the lead, and they've been burning their bullpen more earlier than we have, but we're used to it. We have the arms to do it because we don't have the starting rotation. So all the cards right now are playing into our advantage.
Right. And it's crazy because I feel like at one time Will Vest was like in the same. Remember Wentz? You remember Wentz, the lefty.
Yeah.
I feel like they were like spoke about in the same light, in the same likeliness. But Vest has turned into probably one of our. It goes Vest and then Vest, Holden, and then Foley. I don't know about Foley, but
look, Foley's been great all year. He had one wild game in Houston. I'm not going to sit here and say we're that tight that we need to cut him out from high leverage situation. No, he still deserves another chance. It's just that, he was that erratic, and Hinch went with guys that had proven their mettle, if you will, over the last handful of playoff games. So You can't fault him, and I'm not going to fault him for that. And I've been more than critical of him, and you can well document that. You know that. And frankly, in the time of the playoffs, when the guys have been delivering the most and they're available, that's who you go to, And look, Cleveland did the same thing game 2. 2 on, 2 out with him, in the 9th inning. Emmanuel Clase, who's been extraordinary as a closer, and I think he's been setting records too, not just this year, but over the last year and a half. And he got touched in a bad opportunity to get touched. So now they're behind the 8 ball, and that's not a fault of Class A. That's been a benefit of our pitching over the last 2 games.
Okay, so we pretty much covered everything as far as offense, defense, potential, projected pitchers for tomorrow. What do you? Okay, so the likelihood is they'll kick out a righty tomorrow, right? Just off of just numbers.
I'm sorry. Say it again one more time.
You think Bieber will start? You said Bieber will start tomorrow, or maybe not start, but
I don't think they have a choice.
Not Bieber,
but Bibee. Shane Bibee, yeah. Tanner Bibee, yeah.
They go back to Bibee, okay. And he's left-handed or right-handed?
I think he's right-handed. I don't care. Whatever the hell he did to us in game 1.
But right, yeah.
I mean, that's what the postseason in baseball is all about. You pitch your starter who has been the most effective, or it's carried you this far. They've gotten into JanSport and said, "Get in, boys. I got us. Let's go." You know what I mean? That's the mentality of it right now. They're in an elimination game. Unless there was some guy who pitched 2 to 3 times more the amount of pitches he normally would in a given outing, there shouldn't be anyone not available otherwise to that team. That's the reality of it.
So are there any changes any glaring changes to the lineup that you want to see going into as far as us, what?
It just feels like I'm almost being gaslit.
I mean, it's funny because I wasn't necessarily talking about, but
it was like a soft lead in.
Okay, so coach, the righty is pitching. The momentum is going good. The energy, the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one other person that routinely plays first base. We're just gonna throw it out there. That routinely plays first. Granted, the big hit today came from your boy.
When they were up 2-0 already.
That was huge, though.
Yeah, it was. No doubt. The insurance runs of this team are big. I'm not taking that away from him.
Like, I'm not going to lie, 2-0 felt so much more comfortable than 3-0. I mean, 3-0 felt much more comfortable than 2-0.
Well, yeah. Honestly, they both did. 2-0 is better than 1-0. 3-0 is better than 2-0. But at the same time, too, that was it took that at bat that long to finally deliver a base hit of any kind in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. And look, we've talked. We were in a heat. Hey, everyone out there, listen.
Full disclosure,
we were in a heated debate. I mean, heated to the nth degree. And I am.
What was my premise, Coach? What was my premise? That he was doing great this playoffs?
I'm talking from a playoff standpoint. You want to really blow the doors off? We can. Let's just start the playoffs right now. If we want to expand upon that, we can. This dude, Torkelson, has done nothing for this team in the playoffs up until that at bat.
Of course.
Nothing.
He's played good defense. We're not going to act like he didn't.
He's played better than average defense than we saw in the regular season, yes. Yeah. But it took him that long to become an average defender or not making simple mistakes in terms of a fielder.
Playoffs, we're talking about playoffs. We're not talking about the full body of work. We're talking about the playoffs.
He's made a probably 3 or 4, right? Would you say that's right? 3 or 4 quality stretch plays at first to receive the ball, I'd say, between Houston and this series, 3 to 4.
And defense has been huge for us. The amount of double plays that we have turned, like, that has been Not to say
he
that
ain't been the responsibility for all of them, but he's had a few. That's what I'm saying. He's had 3 or 4 good receptions, making stretches almost damn near splits to receive the ball as far away from the bag as possible for the runner to get on. But that also took the middle infield to pull it off to get to that point at the same time. That's why I'm still giving him credit and some love on that. But other than that, booty cheeks. I'm fine dumping him on the bench and putting Andy Ibanez on first and letting him pinch hit because he looks like Baez out there. He's swinging at off-speed breaking stuff that ain't anywhere near the plate, and it's brutal. He's largely killed innings on this club this postseason. They get up to bat with runners in scoring position. That's supposed to be his statistical strength. We've noted that. 270 to 310 on various scenarios with runners in scoring position, regardless of outs. He bats well above average in those situations. In the playoffs, up until that at bat, nothing. Inning killer.
Coach, would you like to venture to guess at Ibanez's? And I go hard. I go all out for Ibanez. Would you like to venture to guess what his averages against righties?
We know that and well documented.
It's 161.
And Torque had a goose egg until today. Like, what do you want? There's nothing to debate about numbers. He had a goose egg until his first base hit today.
Do you feel like Ibanez is a better defensive first baseman? Like, if we're really being serious about this, like he plays it.
He's not had a negative defensive WAR. Torkelson his whole career up until this year's had a negative defensive WAR.
But that WAR is based off that WAR is based off of second base, third base, corner outfield. It's not.
I don't care. Then put Vierling in there. Don't matter. We've seen them both play first base, and they've been fine.
We've seen Vierling in small cases, but I don't think I'm gonna be like, yes, I think Vierling can dig out a Jace Young worm burner in the dirt. Granted,
Jace Young ain't playing third base.
I know, but I'm just
that ain't a factor.
Yeah, but they all throw him in the dirt. McKinstry will put it in the dirt for sure.
McKinstry hasn't played since what? Game 2 of Houston.
He plays. He's a late defensive guy.
Yeah, but he plays everywhere too, just like Vierling. I mean, the bottom line is the fact you need someone that ain't going to give away at-bat outs. And yeah, he had one sacrifice fly in the 8th inning of Game 2 in Cleveland, and that yielded nothing in return. So other than his 3 walks, I've got some other friends who I know who have been adamant about him. And, well, he's been this and this and this since his return. That was a 2-week stretch in August where he was batting 300, give or take, 5 points roughly. Other than that, he's been absolutely abysmal for this ball club, just giving away at bats in this lineup. And you can't, in a team that struggles to score runs and is not a great power team as it is, and the guy that he got drafted to be as a power hitter, bad. I'm not going to sit here and just railroad him, but I'm just simply put, it's bad. It's brutal to watch. There's plenty of people out there who agree with that, and we can talk about that till the sun comes up. But at this point in time, you need your best bats that can give you any kind of production out there. And frankly, he had provided no offensive production in this playoffs until the last at bat today.
Okay. So Dylan Young is not feeling the Torque smack talk.
Sorry.
No, hold on. Let's get to it because we got some comments. Torque is the next bias. Okay at defense. SH double hockey sticks against batting. We'll say it. Shit at batting. Yeah, absolutely. Torque stats for the postseason and the question for the stays for the postseason. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's if we're being realistic,
we're not bumping him from the lineup, like from the roster. He's staying on the roster. I'm just saying I think he'd be more advantageous as a pinch hitter.
I think it's too late. I think it's too late to.
What do you mean too late? We've started everyone else but Dingler at this point.
I know. Late. I knew when I said that.
Come on. Like that. Come on. Hey, at this point, you may as well start Dingler first. He's going to get a hit before Torkelson can.
Detroit, MSU Detroit fan. We've seen more Mark Hanna, Gio, and Bly at first than Ibanez and Vierling, it seems. Yeah. Vierling is very in a pinch. I don't want to say I don't trust him, but there's no way that you put him out there and say, yes, I need you against the Yankees to play first base. No, that's just a bad idea.
And Bly played what, 2-3 weeks for us, right? Before he got sent down.
I trust Bly in a pinch, but he's just not here.
Defensively,
Bly, yeah, defensively, yeah. He said, I'll be here. He said, I'll be here throwing it at everyone when Torque hits the big home run to win us a game, and everyone's wow. Jesus.
Hey, Dylan, I'll just say this. Get yourself a rebreather. You're gonna be holding your breath for a long time, buddy. You know,
I don't know about that because Torque does get a
back to you, but he isn't. That ain't happened this postseason.
Not yet. He's still here. I mean, there's no reason for me to say it won't happen. I don't even want to put that on him, regardless of whether the fact he hasn't done good. I mean, like you said, I wouldn't hold my breath, but I pray that it happens because it could be the make or break part of one of our series. So he's McKinstry also, but Zach is a utility guy. The only position I believe he hasn't played yet is catcher. Yeah, that's it. He's pitched as well. But let's get
to our last post game. We did say that, like, if push came to shove, we bet Zach could catch.
He could in some shape or form catch, but yeah.
Like an emergency situation, yeah, I bet he could.
Dylan Dingler's been riding that pine heavy. Hold on, we'll be back. Hold on. I don't know what it is about Torque, but people love Torque. Like,
you on the minority on that, my brother. You're on the minority on that. And
I can't say I'm not one of the. What I will say about Torque is, I feel like for whatever reason he is one of the glues to the team. I really feel like
locker room,
yes, which is a big deal, right?
But I'm sorry,
because the whole season has been fueled off of belief and morale and the young guys
and production, which he failed to do after August.
Right,
in 2 weeks in August, he's gone.
Yeah, but production has been spotty throughout the entire team too.
Its production has been spotty for him his entire career in this organization. Come on.
I mean, the team has been bad. I mean, the team has been bad. So, like, even when he was good, you didn't appreciate that too. So
he was supposed to be the cornerstone guy, and he's been nothing of the sort. Sorry. Yeah, he had 22 plus home runs last year when they were 25 games out of first place, and it didn't mean diddly poo-poo.
Right. Which is why I'm not bringing up that portion of it.
Well, yeah, because it looks great for the narrative.
MC Detroit fan, please prove me wrong, Torque, if it means you hit a walk-off. Yeah, please. Yeah. I'm all for that. That'll be
that hit and the game two game that he had in its entirety against Tampa in that final week where he had an RBI double to take the lead and then he had a 3-run home run late in the game to pad the lead. Those were the two biggest hits he's had in the last 2 months. And probably the biggest 2 hits he's had since last year.
Hey, Dylan put it on. He said, "Oh, my mama, I'll be back tomorrow, and I got faith he's coming up big tomorrow."
Well, we know AJ's going to run him out there. So.
I was going to say, we all know we're going to see him. That's for sure.
Which is incredible considering the lack of power this team has in any individual. And ironically, because we're talking about him, who was tabbed the greatest college baseball hitter of all time when he got drafted, has largely not been hitting powerful. So, but okay, I'm going to get off this horse. We got to turn it around. We're in a great spot right now. So yeah, you got, it'd be different if he was literally going, 0 for 10 with 9 strikeouts in the first 3 games, then there would have to be some type of consideration in the manager's office of changing things up, but we're not there. He delivered with an insurance run to make it 3-0. The staff did a great job. And Foster, I think you noted right in the first spot, maybe bottom of the first inning in our group chat. Yeah, I think maybe we're a little surprised at how many people were there, but frankly, considering the expansion over the last 10 years too of stretch runs that we've had collectively as an organization, we've had a lot of mid to late afternoon playoff games as a result early in the postseason. So in my opinion, I'm not terribly surprised that ballpark was not packed right from the get-go.
I mean, you could tell by how much they were charging. I mean, you're not charging that much unless the demand is high, supply and demand. We all know how business works. Dylan says, I back every single Tiger on the team, including Maeda, Torque, and Javi. Only I'll never support a Shelby Miller. Why? What does Shelby do to you? Because Maeda is probably has had a worse season than has Maeda had a worse season than Shelby Miller? I mean, we're comparing two different.
Well, Shelby was a elite reliever and he did choke a lot, but I mean, I think they're almost on the same level, honestly.
They're about even, right?
Yeah. And Baez having to play every day since last year up until what, 2.5 months into this year before they finally started kind of easing him off a little bit and then playing him basically 1 to 1.5 games a series until basically he had season-ending injury and surgery. Those 3+ Torque for me.
Support is support, man. You can still support,
Yeah, sure, you're right. I need to rephrase that. There's support in game when it's going on because you need people to deliver. You have to. But in terms of faith, I have 0.01% faith in all four those players.
Yeah. I get that. I mean, I wouldn't see what he said. Is Javi worth what we pay? No way. Is he as bad as everyone says? In my opinion, no. I mean, I'll tell you one thing about Javi that was valuable this year. Him with runners in scoring position. I don't know where I don't know where he ended the year as far as his splits, but
still had to be over 300,
which is crazy when you really think about it.
Because bro, wasn't he at his peak like around 325, 330 at its peak?
It was like well above.
Yeah.
Let's see. Runners in scoring position. He finished with 308.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really good.
At that point, he'd be worth a pinch hit appearance. You know what I mean? But you get your hip surgery on. It's all bets are off at that point.
I mean, yeah. 2 stints on the IL for his back, and then procedure on your hip. That's wild. MSU Detroit fan. Yeah, around 2 months, McKinstry was getting more and more starts as shortstop, and then Baez went down. It's been all Trey. Yeah, Trey. Yeah, Trey is
Dude, yeah, we noted his 11-game hit streak where he had Foster 3 to 4 pinch hits, single at-bat pinch hits in a game where he had to keep the streak going and he delivered.
Yeah, that's why it was so sneaky that he had the streak going, because if you didn't pay attention to the entire game, you didn't even know that he played.
And then he was usually in on late game defensively too, just because of I'm not going to sit here and say that Zach is a Gold Glove type of guy, but he just does not make errors on simple plays where we've seen Baez throughout the last 2 years. He would boot simple plays, but he made tough plays spectacularly well. So it was a little bit peculiar as to why, ball hit right at you, he might be inclined to boot. Whereas a ball ranging to the hole, deep in the hole to third base, like Jeter, and then he makes an insane throw to get the runner out, or something to the variation of, was crazy to think, because usually, we assume it's going to be the other way around. Majority of players it is going to be the other way around. Simple plays, 9.5, 9.75 times out of 10. Tough plays, maybe 50, 60% of the time, but for Baez, it was the other way around.
And last year, his outs above average was like top tier. That's what was the weird part about the years. Like, his defense fell off the cliff. That's why I feel like it was his body that failed him this year. Honestly, I gotta look it up. Hold on.
I mean, his eye. You're right. His eyes, his arms, his hands all failed him in the box.
Well, no, his eyes had failed him, long ago. But I just want to look up his outs above average, because he was defensively, he was like all-star level. If there's an all-star level for, just strictly defense. Let's see what we got here.
Well, we might need to throw up Dylan's next comment below, MSU Detroit fans, to add on to this.
All right, so his outs above average was 9. Woo, 95% out. Come on, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, hold on. Let's get to that. But come on, outs above average 9 in the 95 percentile just last year.
Yeah. Also, but how many games did he sit though? You know what I mean?
Last
he sat
year?
him in the back half of last year.
No, he played a lot last year. How many games he played last year? He played. Oh, come on.
Yeah, but that's not counting starts. I mean, games in the last 2.5, 3 months of the year where he didn't start probably came in anyways.
Hold on, I might have to mute up. Hold on.
So I'll read out Dylan's. When Javi gets on base, he's a monster base runner in defense. I wouldn't say he's a monster base runner. The dude, how many times in the last 2 years he got thrown out, not understanding how many outs there were? Way too many.
Hold on.
He got benched too by AJ last year twice because he got pulled by AJ twice last year because he wasn't sure of how many outs there were in the situation. Completely just brain farted out there and ended up being doubled off as a result. So no, I'm not going to sit there and say he's a monster base runner. Defensively, he may have been great last year, but not that great this year. And I don't even think it was close this year. Otherwise,
Baez has been our best. It's been our best base stealer outside of McKinstry this year, more so because McKinstry was more healthy. But Baez has been our biggest threat. I mean, Meadows, Parker, but Parker didn't play last year.
He did. He played. That's why he's not a rookie this year. He only played a month last year. You look at his percentage of swiping bags; it's better than Baez.
Well, yeah, I mean, Meadows is a top 5%. I mean, top 90. He's in the 95 percentile as far as sprint speed. I mean, Baez is in the 71st.
I was responding to Dylan's about being a monster base runner. So that's it's stealing and running the bases. And Baez, frankly, running the bases has been piss poor the last year and a half.
Okay, so 2023, he was in the 85 percentile as far as fielding. No. Oh, base running value. Okay, base running value, 64 percentile. So so not a monster.
We'll say average. I'll give him average on that. Yeah.
And then this year, much lower because he was hurt. I think he was hurt for a lot of the. I think he played through injuries, and it really kind of hurt us. But we also didn't have an alternative at shortstop until Sweeney. Prior to
you got to go down to the next one talking about shortstop. This one's about to be hilarious.
All right, hold on. Let me keep it rolling here. Remember when they said Zach Short? Okay, no one said he was no one.
He was. He got picked as it to be. He was.
What do you mean picked?
Briefly, he was picked to be it.
I'm not gonna lie. I uttered the words that I like Zach Short more than Zach McKinstry. But
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying the organization.
No. I understand, but I was also a believer that he was. The future is crazy. Like,
yeah.
But I did like Zach Short. The Tigers won the Jack Flaherty trade just based off of how Sweeney has been, especially compared to Baez. I mean, just the simple fact that we had somebody to replace Baez, that was huge.
And we talked about this in the last post game review, which MSU Detroit fan you were in, and when we said we were talking about Sweeney and next year and anything beyond. I don't know if I would say the Tigers won that trade outright. Flaherty he's done a really good job for the Dodgers. Yeah, he got rocked. He got rocked at last start, but in terms of his whole body of work, damn near would have been a side. We go into the All-Star break, Jack Flaherty would have been a top 8 AL serious contender for Cy Young. And you flip him over to the NL, and he still produced for the Dodgers. So I think both teams won in that regard. We would like to have gotten a little more in terms of production value out of Sweeney from a bat, but from a defensive standpoint, as Dylan kind of alludes to, he has really stabilized us at that position. There's what has he had? Maybe one error. I mean, this postseason he's been flawless. It was
also a sell, not to cut your wisdom, but it was also a sell for the future. I mean, we have a guy that's like 21 years old that's what happens when you sell off a top, like a top-notch player it's not always for the now. I mean, I don't think that everybody anticipated Sweeney just coming right up and contributing anyways. If it wasn't for Baez, I mean, maybe we would have maybe got a look at Sweeney, and the fact that Sweeney was tearing it up in Toledo too. He applied a lot of pressure in himself. So
what did he spend like 2-3 weeks down there in Toledo before he came up originally?
Maybe, but he was hitting like 400. So you know what I mean? But yeah.
And we needed that. I mean, because if he wasn't hitting, there's no guarantee that he comes up that early. Maybe comes up later. I probably push come to shove. It's just a matter of when, not if. Just because, like Foster said, to the lack of depth when Baez was going to be shelved, we needed someone, and we didn't have anyone really even down below that could be, even a somewhat stabilizing call up. And Sweeney has been that for us. He's had what, 1 or 2 home runs, not nothing crazy, but I mean, again, we go back to him and Rogers and some of these other guys that have underperformed offensively, but they have not completely gone away because they have delivered timely hits in a situation where we've needed it. So it's not like they're getting empty base hits. A lot of these guys are getting, clutch base hits to keep it moving for the next guy behind them. Even if it's not them driving in the runs, Foster, if I'm not mistaken, you said Sweeney got the second base hit before Kerry Carpenter came up to bat in game 2, right? So
game 2, yeah.
That's all part of table setting. And as a 9-hitter, that's really all you're doing. You're just trying to, flick the ball out there, punch it out there, get on base. If you get a double, great, and you get the next guy up behind you, you turn the lineup over, and then you let the damage grow from there. So, long-winded answer between MSU Detroit fan and Dylan, but I think right now, Flaherty has been a stabilizing piece. Timely hits with him and Rogers down there at the bottom, and really above average defense, which frankly we've needed because in the first 3 months or so of the year of the season, we were absolutely abysmal defensively outside of maybe Parker Meadows.
Yeah, you're right. Now I remember that string. I was like, Nico Goodrum is a what's the name of that bar?
That was your boy too.
I used to run it into him in Royal Oak all the time. He had to live right down Royal Oak because I used to run into him all the time. He's still playing. I saw him playing somewhere.
He was with the Twins, I thought, after us. After that, I don't recall, but
I can't remember. Matter of fact, I gotta look it up and see.
We do miss Jose, and he's actually doing wonders for the Mets this year after he got signed mid-season.
Could there be? Oh yeah, no, I think he's still in the Twins. It looks like
he is. Oh, he is. Nico. Okay, yeah. No,
or
Jose.
Angels.
It could be. I think you're right. I think he did spend some time with the Angels.
Yep. Angels. Real quick though. Real quick for the Angels.
Yeah.
But
Jose doing wonders with former Tiger teammate JD.
Could you see no, I think the Mets try to lock him in because didn't you say he was hitting like over 300 or something? That's insane.
He got signed in mid to late July, right around the trade deadline as a free agent. He hadn't played on a parent club the whole year. He did bet over 300 for them heading, at the conclusion of his abbreviated regular season. He had some clutch hits for them in the postseason so far. I've been watching a lot of other playoff games just because these matchups are so juicy. They're so good. The storylines are great. That's what happens when you get the right teams in. But again, not for power. Ramon Santiago had a little more pop than Jose, but Jose had one of the more iconic playoff defensive plays in the last 15 years that I can recall against Boston at home. Remember, he caught that little bloop into shallow left center field, and Joe Buck went crazy on Fox, and it was an amazing play. Him and Polanco probably, I think, were some of the underrated defensive guys that we've had over the last 15 years in terms of infield and middle infield. But I will withhold the rest of my nostalgia moments, and we'll refocus on the current team as is.
Hold on, I think we're gonna wrap it up after this, but I'm gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna get to some of Dylan and MSU Detroit fans comments. All right, let's see what we got here. Dylan says, who we got in the other series? For me, Royals, Mets, and Padres. Who do we?
I agree.
Who would you rather see? The Royals?
That list, I agree with 100%. And I'm, the Mets are on. I put that in our group chat. It was crazy. For those that have not seen it, since 2017, when the Brewers went on this run they've been on over the last 7 years, the team in the National League that has beaten them or ousted them in the playoffs has made this World Series every single year, and that would be the Mets this year. So, yeah, I think the Mets are going to end up finishing off the Phillies. I don't think they have an issue if they have to go back to Game 5 to beat Philly. Philly's kind of power dependent between Harper, Nick, and Kyle Schwarber. Alec Baum's been on a bit of a downslide. He hasn't started the last 2 games for them. Dodgers are a shell. I knew heading in, their starting pitching was decimated. I think one of their starting 5 pitchers from opening day made the postseason roster purely based on health. And I think that's Walker Buehler, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of their other guys were done for the year. And, I'll say this, Mookie Betts feels like a Vierling on steroids. The dude can play anywhere in the field and still hit. And he's had a great year offensively. So, but in terms of the Royals, yeah, our strength in the Tigers is pitching. We do not want to play in frickin' Yankee Stadium in that cartoon ballpark. No.
Right.
Get us in with our Field Comerica and get us in with Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. And I feel way better about that matchup. Sure, there are some players on Kansas City that worry me. Salvador Perez, I've mentioned multiple times throughout the year. Dude's got a lot of respect. He's a sure first ballot Hall of Famer. He's won a World Series with them. He's won a few Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves. The guy is as great as they come with Yadier and those that were old enough to know when we had Pudge, Ivan Rodriguez. Those are dime a dozen. Those are like once in a generation type catchers. As years go on, it's such a dying position. But I forget the freaking Yankees. Yeah, if I don't have to see Rizzo, Judge, Stanton, those guys in a short porch, then I'm all for it. But, ultimately we're going to play where we need to play, and whoever wins, that's it. But, if we get to pick and choose, Dylan, that list you have, outside the Padres were lethal, but whatever, that'd be a World Series matchup. So that'd be the last hurdle to clear, in my opinion.
All right, see what we got here. I was really hoping we would have brought back JD after I heard the Dodgers let him go. We got Gio Urshela instead. Hey, Gio held it down, man. Gio had a major walk-off home run against the Dodgers in the heat of the summer. Oh, my God, it was hot that day. But, yeah, Gio.
Hey, props to JD, hung in there. He was hurt. That's why he didn't get signed right away. So he got signed kind of also mid-season. And I'll say this about Gio, because I'm a Braves fan too, some family ties. Gio produced better in Atlanta than he did in Detroit in the short stint. So, good for him.
He was okay in Detroit, though. He didn't hit for a lot of power, but he played really good defense at first and third, right? He played first and third.
He hit for a ton of power in Atlanta, believe it or not.
Did he?
He hit for about 5 or 6 home runs over the last month and a half regular season. And
he probably had 5 or 6 the whole year with us.
And he had 2 or 3 home runs in the postseason in limited because they won the wild card and then they got swept by the Padres,
and he hit home runs in the postseason. Wow. In the postseason.
He had one, if not 2 in the postseason. Yeah.
Wow.
He went Yeah.
When we let Gio go, that really confused me because we have traded him at the deadline like we could have traded him at the deadline. That's true.
I don't think there was much of a market for him. That's the reason why. Otherwise, I think they absolutely would have. But,
I think they would. Yeah. I mean, they were. Yeah. Because when we got rid of him, it wasn't because of lack of production. It was just because it was time for Jace Young to get up here, which didn't pay big dividends at the time, but it does moving into the future. which is why he's playing right. Which is why he's getting not a lot of playing time, but he played today for a quick season.
The youth movement was inevitable at that point, so he was just an instant casualty.
We're shutting down. Oh, I don't even want to. I don't want to speak. I want to speak that dude up because he is, But we are shutting down Jose Ramirez. I love the intentional walk. We are taking him out of the series. Yeah.
The last part I agree with. Yes, we have control. We have limited him. There's been some balls that have come off the bat where you kind of gasp and your brown eye might pucker a little bit, but at the same time you're like, okay, out, or even a single. Hell, I'll take a single with that guy for sure.
JD just got a single string to tie it with the.
That's on right now. Then
a single to tie it with the Phils right now to take the series. MSU Detroit fan. Every year the Dodgers are dealing with some sort of injury to their starting pitcher. Remember when they had Max Scherzer when Washington blew everything up? They had Scherzer in LA.
Yeah, they did. I think for one season. I think it wasn't much longer than that. Because otherwise, after that, he signed with JV 2 years ago, and then they traded both of them.
I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, no, I remember they had him briefly because him and was it Kershaw or Stafford? One of the two were like high school teammates, and then something to that degree. And then Scherzer signed with the Mets. Verlander signed with the Mets. They ended up having a down year. And Max, I remember going to the front office saying, like, look, if you guys are going to be buyers, get me out of here. I don't want to be here if that's the case. I want to win. So I think that's when he got traded to the Texas Rangers, where he's at now, for last year and a half. And then Verlander ended up going back to Houston as a result from the Mets. So, kind of weird, you get two guys like that caliber who end up getting shipped off, and the Mets are now having they had a great late run like we did, and they got in, and now they're wreaking havoc. Lindor's having an amazing year. But Dodgers litany of injuries. Freddie Freeman, I didn't realize last night in watching. Again, Braves fan, so Freddie's been a great long time Brave, but I didn't realize Freddie was playing on a bad ankle, and he had to get pulled last night after he reached base on a single. There were doubts whether he'd play today. But yeah, Max. When they had Max in Washington blew everything up. Yeah, I mean, they blew it all up. Rendon, Scherzer, Harper. They had a litany of players in that club in that year. So looks like MSU Detroit fan will run one down more. Tigers, Royals, ALCS is what I'm going with. I'm right there with you. I am right there with you.
So, Coach,
we owned him down the stretch too.
Yeah, you're right about that. So who finished higher, the Royals or the Tigers?
Royals did. That's why the matchup went to Houston. We were the third wild card to the divisional winner, Houston. Royals played wild card Baltimore, the top wild card.
Okay. I like seeing a potential World Series with Tigers rematch Padres or the Mets. Both would be interesting. Yeah, I agree. Iglesias coming back to Detroit. That'd be cool.
Bro, if it's the Padres, it'd be 30 years to the day that the same World Series matchup happened where we last won. So, again,
30.
30 again. In our group chat, we talked about destiny and shit. Like, there's so many things about destiny and on this date 20 years ago or 30 years or whatever, like, it's screaming for us right now that we're going to make it almost as a matter of fact. And I'm not saying that, don't put your mortgage on a World Series or LCS winner, but all things seem to point towards our inevitability of getting there at this point, all things considered.
Thomas said, who pitches tomorrow? We kind of talked about it a little bit, but I don't think we we came to a firm decision on that. What did we say? I don't even know. We said that pretty much all hands on deck and anybody. We said,
yeah.
What did we say? Gunther? No.
I think we said you could go Gunther, Job, and Olsen of some mix and match. Yeah, Herder's not going to be available, so Gunther's going to have to go, I think, 2 innings, like 6 to 7 batters, just to keep him off. something like that.
And Gunther only pitched a third, right? He only pitched against
he
one
pitched
guy.
11 pitches. He should be good for 2 innings tomorrow. Anyone who didn't really reach a limit today or beyond a limit today for us should be available tomorrow. And I think the only person that might not be in that instance could be, I was going to say Bo. Bo's pitched a bit over him and Will. I don't think Will did today. I don't think. So Will should be available tomorrow. Will Vest, that is. But we've paused, been riding the Bo train here for a minute. And AJ likes to give other guys some time to shine. That we saw Job in Game 2 against Houston in a high leverage situation. So I kind of would almost expect something like a little more eyebrow raising in that regard, Thomas. But outside of that,
I'd love to see us just kick the door down early in the game and give him another opportunity to, semi-comfortable situation to where we give him a shot to throw, but not in a high leverage situation. But that's,
yeah. Now, Montero could be available tomorrow. He didn't pitch. He pitched 1 inning today. He's a starter traditionally his whole career. So, yeah, you could see him in 1 inning relief. It's possible. Harper left World Series. Yeah.
Casey has a tiebreaker. So okay. So
yeah, that's true. Head to head, they would have the tiebreaker. But I'll say this to that MSU Detroit fan. We were 2-7 until the last 2 weeks of the regular season when we saw the Royals twice. And would we go, Foster? 5-1 against them down the stretch?
Yeah, I think
we still finished with the record, but we could have swept them, it wouldn't have mattered. But we went 5-1 against them down the stretch. I don't think they're going to be entirely thrilled to see us. But then again, I feel like for them too, they probably feel like it'd be a little bit better matchup than facing the Guardians, which I think Cleveland did have a winning record against pretty much everyone in the division to a degree, whether it was 1 or 2 games above 500, whatever. But, that kind of ownership still matters a bit, mentally when you're in the postseason.
Yep. Let's get to another break. We still got a nice faithful in the building. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. All right. So,
I know the Mets tied it up, but apparently not.
It looks like they loaded the bases, but maybe they didn't get anything.
Yeah.
You said no outs, and they still didn't convert?
I'd have to look at the I cancel that out. I have to look at the play-by-play, but yeah, it's telling me no runs.
MSU Detroit fan, Casey jumped on us.
Yeah.
Said Casey jumped on us early since we lost home series against them during the NFL draft and then the beginning of August when we retired Leland's number. Thomas says, what about Malloy next year at first base? Hey, we talked about that, right?
We did talk. Yeah, we certainly did. Yeah, if he can learn it, I mean, it's well noted now for Tiger fans who follow minor league prospects to a fair degree. He suffered a fairly serious shoulder injury, Foster, about a year ago, 2 years max?
This was when he was in the Brave system?
Yeah, and it really limited his ability to play and throw in the outfield. So he can play a little bit out there, but it's not like he's not going to be a plus defender out there in terms of just ripping outs like Yasiel Puig used to do, or guys like that back in the day. But, I think that's an option. It would get him more at bats at the parent club because the way we've talked about it offline and even online here in the last 2 weeks, looking at the potential roster shape out for next year minus any free agent signings. If you think this is a guy that can contribute over the next few years, you have to find him a spot. And, right now, first base, in my opinion, is wide open. I think second base right now, as of right now, is the only position in Penn that is spoken for heading into opening day next year in Colt Keith.
And Malloy has played third. That was the one position that they tried to move him to. It ended up being Jace Young, but I think Malloy was pretty bad at third, from what I heard. I never saw.
Yeah, Young struggled. Malloy was worse, and I don't think that's necessarily a full-on slam on him because he was. You got to be willing. As a potential big leaguer, if something like that happens, you need to be able to adjust to be able to find your spot on the field on a regular basis. No one wants to live as a perennial pinch hitter, substitute player. Yeah, those players are integral to a championship winning team or a successful team, as we've seen over the years, and guys like Ramon Santiago and Don Kelly, who we affectionately have all really loved to a degree. They do different things. They're great chemistry guys. They're great teammates, but and I don't, and to the effect, I don't think Malloy doesn't fit outside of that at all. But if you think he's got something to give on offense, he needs to find opportunities. I mean, hell, we did the same thing with Wenceel Perez. Basically was demoted and cut as an infielder, and now he's finding success playing some corner outfield, primarily right. It's just dependent on having the ability and being able to transition into a position of need in an organization that absolutely has to have it. Otherwise, you're kind of on to the next organization at that point. So I think JHM could potentially be a first baseman, maybe split first DH with him. And I think that would be a great combo next year, with him and Carpenter, if that's the way, AJ wants to continue to do it with Carp. And
you don't want one person that can play first?
Not on this roster. I mean, we saw Bly play, like we said, but
Bly has played first base his whole life. I don't think he's played anywhere else.
Right. I mean, other than that, it's Ibanez or Vierling, and Ibanez has played 1, maybe 2 games most this year. Vierling a little bit, again, all on the back end, like after we clinched, they were around a bit. But
I mean, I think Ibanez could play first base every day defensively. It's just offensively where it would hurt us.
Yeah, and that's why I think you wouldn't have him and Malloy doing the same split, because you're looking at the same difficulty in terms of batting splits against right-handed pitching. That's why I think Vierling might be a bigger candidate to slide over, because he's pretty much going to start every day in terms of the lineup. It's just going to matter of, okay, well, first, third, outfield. He's played everywhere in the outfield. I think he's going to be an integral part of this team over the next few years, for sure. Might be a part if it becomes too pricey when we start looking at extensions for guys like Parker, guys like everyone else we got, because a lot of guys are on arbitration over the next few years. So there's going to be some contract extensions, a handful of them, whether it's going to be us or someone else for these guys that are not the core 3 or 4 right off the rip. Guys like Olson, Skubal, Holton is going to be one of them that fits in there with Vest and Brisky, and then you got guys, Colt's locked up for a while, so I don't have to worry about him. Riley's probably what do you have, like a 4-year deal extension originally? He's going to come around in a few more years, and then you got a lot of decisions to make. So I don't want to get too far ahead of that, but Dylan's question: who's going tomorrow? Wish I was. I am not. Would love to. I've been to some games in 06 when we eliminated the Yankees. Bro, that stadium in the upper deck was shaking. A cement foundation stadium in the upper deck was shaking when we eliminated them back with, Bonderman, Walker, all those guys from back then. Sean Casey,
the mayor,
who I love on MLB Network. For those of you who don't watch, great show and platform for baseball over most. And then the run we had from 2011 to 2014, we had a lot of great guys. So this is go ahead.
No, I was kind of rolling down the comments. He said one of Schoolboy's 4 losses was against the Royals. Yeah, I was there. That was That was an ass kicking, and Shelby Miller really let the floodgates open. That was the infinite ERA game.
No outs recorded.
That was a fun night, though. We can't share all that on the internet, though. Malloy is a great eye for the strike. Yeah, which is why I keep emphasizing why he plays, why he led off that one game, is because he will get on base. Grand slam from the Mets. That's a little old, but apparently they hit a grand
Just
slam.
saw that. Lindor.
Malloy could play outfield more to give days off to Green, Meadows. Yeah, you could definitely, supplement, but you're definitely losing something there when he's playing defense.
You can't. I'll say this: in any given day, you cannot have Malloy and Perez out in the corner outfield at the same time. You would have a horrible net negative defensive war in that case, and
but Meadows is going to clean some of that up. I want us to keep an outfield of Green, Meadows, Perez, Sneak, Vierling, Malloy, and maybe Carpenter every now and then. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the outfield is pretty much locked in. It's the corner infield, which obviously Vierling kind of factors into the corner infield a little bit, but it's first base and third that are the real questions, and then shortstop Sweeney. We can talk Sweeney for the next couple of years. He can cover us until McConaughey gets here. And then by the time Clark gets here, Perez will likely be on his way out of town.
Yeah, or if they feel like Perez, if he continues to develop and Green becomes too pricey, then you become, I'm not stating either way that I want any of these guys to go.
No, yeah.
But I think my thinking is more along the line of if Chris Ilitch doesn't want to spend an absorbent amount other than maybe 2 to 3 signings next year, and the outfield is not one of them. If they go 2 infield, 1 arm of any kind, then I could see a potential where Green might potentially price himself out, and Ilitch wants to go cheaper. Well, if Green's making whatever he's making, and we can bring Max Clark up for $950,000 or whatever he's making, then I could see that happening.
Clark making more than that. Well, maybe not. He's making millions, I think.
Well, he got a signing bonus, but his base salary is still low.
Yeah, probably.
It ain't more than maybe $2 million or so. I'll double check, but go ahead. We got a couple more comments.
I think he said Mets had amazing center fielders, Granderson, Jackson, and Meadows. No, Dets. Oh, Detroit's had amazing. Yeah, which has been imperative because we got that big outfield in general. So yeah, Detroit's always had some pretty good center fielders. I feel like we were lacking in that category for a while though, because there was a gap in between Jackson and Granderson before we got to Meadows. For shortstops,
we had Jackson and Granderson back to back pretty much, and then and then there was a gap. Yeah.
Shortstop.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry.
I mean,
Max signed
maybe Andy Navagato.
Max only signed a 1-year deal with us.
Who?
Max Clark only signed a 1-year deal with us.
No. Max Clark. Our first round
1 year, 7.697, fully guaranteed.
Hold on, this dude is 19 years old. Ain't no 1-year deal. What are you talking about? You're right. What? Oh, so he's going to get paid again this year? No, I'm looking at it too. So he's going to get paid again this year coming up.
He getting paid a hell of more than $7 million, and he ain't with the club.
Oh, wait. So he signed a 1 year.
So Ilitch is paying him buku bucks to play. Yeah, for this year.
So that's what I said. I know he's making millions. Okay, so he's gonna negotiate?
I mean, based on that, he's a free. He can do whatever. I mean, he'd be arbitration out. I mean, I don't know.
He ain't going.
It's a little.
Is that right?
I'm looking at my knowledge. I'm looking in that regard.
Yeah, I'm looking at what you're looking at though. But look, it says 23 to 23.
Yeah.
A 1-year deal.
But usually on Spot Track for salary, it says arbitration 1, 2, 3, 4, or team control, and that ain't on there.
Yeah, that's weird because you know that dude ain't leaving Detroit. That dude is like the heart and soul of Tigers fandom.
Yeah, but at the same time, if he's
weird.
legit signed a 1-year deal, man, he's going to get offers from damn near every other club.
That's not that can't be right. You don't sign a first round draft pick to a 1-year $7 million. Well, what would be the point of paying a single A? He was in single A, making $7 million. That doesn't look right.
Because we got him in a top 3 pick, top 4 overall pick.
We picked him over.
We signed him for cheaper than the slot. The slot average for where we got him at would have been, they said 8.2, 8.3 million. We got him for 7.6.
Skeens is, let's see what Skeens contract. Oh, Skeens making 9. But it's base. Okay, it says Skeens signed a record 9.2 million with the contract is base salary 740,000. What does that mean? Did they stretch it? 1 year, 740,000 with what? Yeah, I'm lost. Because he's locked up until 2026. So where did the 9 million come in? The signing bonus was 9 million?
Yeah, signing or fully guaranteed. Yeah.
Why would your base be 500 and your signing bonus be 9 million? I'm lost. Hold on.
Because the 500 is accounted against their salary cap, basically. I mean, it's a soft salary cap in baseball, as we all know. But, you know, if the more guaranteed money you pay out, the less. Yeah.
If Royals, Tigers, Padres, and Mets win, it's all wild card teams. Well, we know we knew the Dodgers were going to choke. Clark will at most start next year in AA. So what were we doing paying a 20-year-old a whole bunch of money? Well, that's what we did, though.
Because
he's like his trajectory is.
We deemed him to be a cornerstone piece at that high.
Yeah, he will be.
Yeah,
that dude hasn't taken a day off since he got drafted. Let's be real. Unless he's playing camera tricks with us, that dude has been in the batting cage since day one, and he's already like he's not hitting for power yet, but that dude is built for power.
He had some power in high A and not so much in double A when he got promoted, but he was still slugging. He was still slugging.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah. Extra base hits, but you got to think, dude can leg out a triple on a routine single in the minor leagues. In the minor leagues, anyways.
Yeah. I mean. He's a gamer, and Foster and I specifically have talked about this over the last few days offline. Like, this kid has been in off-season mode for 2.5 weeks now from AA ball, and he is in the cage getting. For those that follow his socials, especially his Instagram. It's the only thing I really follow, other than his
Twitter's where it's at. He goes crazy on Twitter.
Yeah. But he doesn't post the cage videos on Twitter. It's just the Instagram.
Oh, no, yeah.
The dude's getting work in. He's working like it's mid-season, all-star break for a few days. But F that, I'm still getting my licks in and getting my cuts in. So, I mean,
he's working like he's trying to earn a check. It's like, bro, chill. Like,
right. He's trying to be better than Parker Meadows or anyone else that we got. He goes, it's like he's like seeing Riley Green. Oh, you're an all-star batting 270? I'm going to bat 300 and be an all-star. That's the kind of mentality I believe this kid's got, and he is going to be absolute. When he does get up here to the parent club, that mentality is going to be even more infectious with the rest of the clubhouse. Because let's be real, right now that clubhouse, it as of right now, couldn't be any higher than it already is in terms.
Can you imagine
support.
him and Vierling? Like, Vierling is pretty intense,
and he doesn't show up that often, and he doesn't. Max does a lot, but it's
Vierling. What all the promo clips is always Vierling screaming because he's diving in head first somewhere. Like, Vierling, it seems like Vierling is ready to run through a brick wall every time. Just I don't know.
Oh, I'm not doubting that. I mean, the clips that we've seen on X from Max Clark on some of his home runs and big hits, dude, it's raw. It's in the moment. It's more of what we've seen recently out of younger MLB players over the last few years in terms of, celebrating big moments. The dude, he's just a flat out gamer. I really think all he wants to do is win. He doesn't give two shits about anything else. If his team wins and he goes 0 for 4, he is just as happy, if not more happy, than if he goes 4 for 4 and they lose. Actually, no, that's a fact. He would be more happy the way around than that. So, but it's getting a little bit in the future. But go ahead and we got some more comments.
Yeah, he's still 19. That's the crazy thing. And he's wait, when does he turn? He's 19 and he turns.
He's engaged too.
Well, he's got the high school sweetheart. Yeah, he turns 20 in December 21st. Guarantee you he's in the cage the 22nd. No doubt about it. And he doesn't need to lift anymore. That dude is huge. Pause. But
he's only gonna get bigger and stronger faster over the next few years.
I don't know if I want him to get any bigger because 6 foot 200 is solid as F.
Yeah,
to be 19 years old.
And he can still grow vertically. He still can grow until he's about 22, 23.
He might grow a little bit.
Even 6'1", 6'2", and he can run like that.
If he gets to
flying around the outfield.
If he grows to 6'2", good night. Hold on, let's get to these comments. Max Clark is going to define the legacy of Scott Harris because we all know everyone was saying take Langford, and we took Clark third overall. At this point, it doesn't matter because we're in the playoffs. The Rangers are where right now? Gone fishing. That part is irrelevant. Maybe he could have helped us a little bit at the corner outfield, especially when we were banged up and needed some bats. But at this point, it's going to pay way more dividends down the road. Langford was kind of up and down this year too. Dylan Young, he said
they could afford to have him up because they were great. They had names everywhere else in the field, so that made sense to have this kid get his experience in with a bunch of veterans around him, which was not our situation.
And we gave him Kelly and Chafin, and they still couldn't make the playoffs. But anyways, need to get this Yankees announcer off of broadcast. If other teams don't get their announcers, they shouldn't. And he's so clearly biased. What they got a bias.
I'll take that because that happened with the Houston series. We had the Yankee Michael Key is the Yankees yes broadcaster, the Yankees entertainment.
Is he?
Sports announcer. And look, he got ripped. Tim Kirkshin, I thought in the Houston series was just absolutely beyond vanilla. But I agree. I think there needs to be an option where like Monday Night Football, you can watch the traditional telecast or you can watch the Manning cast and all their guys they bring in every quarter. But, that comes into split revenue and other things with the owners that they have to sort out. But I would agree that until you get to the championship series where you only have one game a league going, it should be the local guys. I do agree with that just because that's what everyone who follows the team, knows and enjoys. But, in the same breath, too, there are guys that are just pure homers. And that's why we got Benetti. The ownership in Chicago was not happy that Benetti was doing a lot of what our former crew and Rod Allen and Mario Mpemba, they were more than just being homers. They were being educational about the game. They were giving credit to opposing players who were either on a hot streak or a prospect that got called up. They didn't mince their words. They were about growing the game as a whole for baseball fans. And I think that's the bigger aspect that needs to be captured. But to that effect, Dylan, I think until you get to the championship series, there should be an option to watch your local regional network broadcasting crew in the playoffs.
He said, is it fair to say Max Clark is basically like Moritz Seider was in 2019? You tell me, because I don't even know who that is. I ain't gonna lie.
Moritz Seider is the defenseman that the Red Wings have, who's tall.
He's on the Red Wings. I'm like,
he's so tall. You could put Max Clark on skates. He's still going to be 3 inches shorter than Seider. But maybe, I don't know, it might be a hair.
What is he comparing, the phenom or the
yeah,
height?
because we drafted Sider such a high draft pick, and Clark kind of fits the same bill in that regard. But we're talking about a Red Wings team too that was so bad on the blue line for a handful of years that we needed to draft a blue liner that was big and aspiring, and he's got so many other qualities.
Our outfield was bad when we drafted Clark, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say we needed outfield depth no matter what, even from a non-parent organizational depth standpoint. We needed outfield. Green got called up, Parker got called up. We had to let go of his brother Austin Meadows. There's 2 outfielders in the minor leagues in the last 2 years that are now gone. So that needed to happen. But I want to hear Jason Benetti comment. Yeah, I mean, Dylan, it was crazy that his college football employer let him back off his that last weekend in order to call the clinching moments of us getting to the playoffs. I think that was really cool. That screams a lot in terms of his respect across the aisle entirely of professional and collegiate broadcasting. Pay extra. Hey, we pay enough with Bally. I don't know if I want to pay any more for extra. Go ahead, Foster, read out that last one from MSU.
Sider was Yzerman first pick as a Wings GM, and everyone questioned why he took him so high. Clark was very similar because he was Harris' first pick as Tigers GM.
Fair.
I like that comparison. Okay.
Yeah. In terms of the Benetti call to MSU,
Clark's first pick was last year. Was okay.
Yeah. And then Benetti called the MSU Oregon game last week. He kept saying we wanted to call a Wild Series last week. Yeah. No, I did watch some of that as a Spartan fan myself, MSU Detroit fan. It was, he made it a little less bearable to grit that, game. Won't go into depth. Teaser. We're possibly working on a separate show for the Red Wings and Michigan State basketball as the seasons come up rapidly to the start there. Quick plug there. But yeah, in terms of your second comment about Sider with Yzerman and Scott Harris Clark, I think that's an absolutely fair, 1-to-1 there. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Sider's up. Clark will be up in the next 2 years at the latest, I feel like. So, a lot of good quality prospects being taken finally by some presidents and GMs who know what the hell they're doing finally to get these sports teams back on the right track in Detroit.
Dylan Young says, I paid Benetti GoFundMe just to listen to him at his house calling the game. That's a lot of money. That's probably a lot of money he charges for,
Well, he's got one eye and then he got the other eye here. So you may have to pay 2.5 eye. No, I was kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, right. Hey, I'll say this, and Brian, I think you would probably agree. We've been very blessed over the last 20 years in terms of professional broadcasting crew and even radio to a degree, even going back 30 years ago. Between the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Red Wings have been the same crew on TV for years. Ken Cal on radio. I'm going to nerd out here for a second. Lions in the 90s had Mark Champion and Jim Brandstatter, also a U of M guy on radio. We had Rod and Mario for years, obviously on the radio side of it. We've had Ernie and Dan Dickerson for many, many years. Frankly, in terms of my life, those have been the only 2 full-time radio broadcasters for the Tigers. And you got Dan Miller on TV for the Lions, who I think does a tremendous job. We've been very, very fortunate in the last, 30 years of collective broadcasting in this city and the state for our pro team. So I don't think too many other, collective states or cities can say that.
Yes, sir. And let's take one more break. We're going to try to wrap it up, but we still got a lot of conversation. I appreciate
y'all jumping in and we love it. So, yes.
I can find it. All right, man. Hold on, we got another comment. Got a few comments. Red Wings, we had Mickey Redmond and Ken Daniels calling for a long time. Absolutely. Greg Kelser and George Blaha. Yep.
Mickey, Mr. Ginger Ale Redmond, of course. Yeah, and actually I think Mickey's had 2 different stints with the Red Wings, if I'm not mistaken. Also, him and Ken have done some national games over the last 20 years or so as well. And what can we say about the fountain of life that is George Blaha, who does Pistons TV and or radio, Michigan State football radio, and or sometimes Michigan State basketball radio. And yes, Greg Special K Kelser, a legend in his own right. Yeah, I mean, the names, all these names we've been ringing up and you guys have been plugging in as well. God, these are all Hall of Fame guys, in my opinion. And that's coming from someone who's, father who spent some time in TV, sports broadcasting back in the 80s, between Seattle, Oklahoma, and Detroit. That's, you get some guys that are very homerish, and we know that now over across the whole landscape of pro sports, guys that are just, that's why Chicago let Benintendi go. They wanted him to be a true homer and slam the opponent. Don't give him this, don't give him that. And he's like, no, I'm not about that. I want to grow the game. I owe it to them. I'm not going to do that. And the owner was like, then see ya, hit the dirt path. And we've been collectively gracious to have him this year, and hopefully we have him for years to come.
They must have wanted him to be because he's not. I guess he's not a Detroit homer, but
but they wanted him to be an ass basically to all opponents, and that's not how it should be. But that's what the optic they wanted him to present on TV.
And he stood on his principles and said, all right, I'm going to go to Detroit and we're going to go to the playoffs and we're going to bust that head all year long.
And that team going to lose record amount of games. See ya. But yeah, I mean, wrap it up. We'll try and wrap it up here, man. Everyone jumped in. Thank you so much. The last show we had set records. Foster's got some more specific numbers on that. I think about around noon today, I checked in on it. We had almost 500 views on just the YouTube side of it. I mean, man, we're just 2 guys that just love this game, love the sport, love this team and organization. And for all of you out there that have been in the same spot, like we 9 years of absent playoffs, 10 years since the last one, man, we went through the 2003 bullshit, pardon my French, but that was some down, between the 90s and the early 2000s, after Juan Gonzalez came in and said, F you in this place, get me out of here after 1 year. We've been overdue, and go from 2006 to now, like, they're different runs, different teams. And I know Miggy just retired a year ago. I think I got some memories coming up that, with him in his last weekend series, but, all those teams paved the way to get us in a spot where players want to come out and play here. So you look at this young group, and Vierling being really the most veteran guy with major playoff experience and World Series experience, it's only going to get better. And I can say that as a fact over the next handful of years. It's only going to get better. This team is only going to get better. And I can't wait to see what happens the rest of the way. But most importantly, we've got game 4 tomorrow.
Man, we got to turn around. we gotta spin the block and do another game and watch another game tomorrow. But of course, we're looking forward to that. Now we're gonna definitely tune into the Royals game as soon as we get up out of here. But we are getting up out of here this time. This is it. I appreciate all the support, Dylan. You have been tuned in 100% the last few shows. Detroit fan Troy is here every week. And some of our homies within the group chat, I know they tune in as well. June was in here. But yeah, tell a friend to tell a friend. Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube, Corner to Copa on all audio aggregators. And it's not over with. We about to handle business tomorrow. I don't want to jinx them or anything, but yeah, we got the momentum, and I know some of y'all are going to be in the building tomorrow. Dylan said he'll be in the building tomorrow, so it's going to be rocking. Tune in, because they're feeding off of the energy. They're feeding off of their own youth and ignorance, and I love it. And we rolling. I don't know what else to say. We rolling. But we're gonna get up out of here, man. Yeah. I've said enough.
Bro, rolling's an understatement. It is everything in